The following critique is intended for a teenage or older audience and may contain heavy themes or be too articulate for kids younger than the age of 13. Also, the following critique is about a rated R film that contains mature violence and or themes that is not suitable for kids. You know, when I first heard a new Joker movie was being released, I was originally skeptical since I initially thought it was going to be an origin story about Jared Leto's portrayal of the character. Now, despite what I've said in my old Suicide review and my recent top 5 Jokers list, I don't hate Jared Leto's Joker anymore since I've acknowledged the fact that we barely saw him in action in Suicide Squad. Judging him off of a few minutes of screen time was kinda unfair. The reason I'm clarifying this is because that's the exact reason I was actually anticipating a DCEU Jared Leto Joker movie, so we could see more of him and maybe warm up to the new adaptation of the character. However, after Jared Leto understandably was upset about how DC has been treating him and the severe backlash his portrayal of the character received, it's unlikely we'll ever see a movie like that. When the first official teaser of the new Joker movie released, it won me over a little, but some skepticism still remained. There was still a chance this movie would be poorly executed or lack good writing. Then the first trailer dropped and I was completely on board. The people making this movie seemed to know what they were doing. I recently saw Joker in late November and wow. At first glance, I thought I saw a well-acted, perfectly executed story. But after the movie sat with me for a while and with a couple of viewings of other analysis videos, I've realized that Joker is not only a good story, but a bold, perfectly crafted piece of art that deserves to be treasured for years to come. And no, that is not an exaggeration. This movie should be taught at film schools. But why do I think Joker was such a perfect movie? Well, before we understand this movie, we had to understand the Joker first. If you're familiar with some of my Batman content, you're likely aware that Joker is my favorite antagonist of all time. Now, I know some of you are probably like, oh, that's why this guy loves this movie so much. He's biased. Well, if you stick around to the end of the critique, you'll know that that's not true, and I have good reasons for believing why this movie is genius. Anyways, Batman is supposed to represent the broken man who rises up and stands for something to believe in. Joker is supposed to represent the broken man who doesn't rise up and instead gives in to the world's cruelty and hatred and stands for people to open their eyes to just how meaningless life is in the grand scheme of things, which is, in his eyes, the greatest joke of all. Batman stands for hope, whereas Joker stands for cruel reality. Both are broken, but one let the clock consume them and the other rose to fight for a better one. The reason I like the Joker isn't because he's funny or has a lot of cool schemes, even though that does factor into it. It's because of who he is as a person and what he represents. What he tries to make everyone else see. Most of all, what he tries to make Batman see. Just how funny the world is.
Funny world we live in.
You see, the Joker isn't a man.
I'm an idea, a philosophy, and I will live on in the shadows within Gotham's discontent.
That's the reason I like the Joker. He's a symbol. He, in his eyes, stands for truth. If you watched my top 5 Jokers list, you might have saw that I put the Joker from the Arkham series and John Doe from Batman the Telltale series near the top. While they're both good characters, I do realize they're not great Jokers. John is a sympathetic, misunderstood person with an improperly treated medical condition whose mind molded into an obsession with Batman. Joker from the Arkham series is just a psychopath who lives for chaos and anarchy. While I still think that list was justified, I forgot to mention that John Doe and Joker from the Arkham series aren't great representations of what makes the Joker so complex and interesting. They are still good characters though. I would include the Joker from the Batman, but there are a few lines and hints that confirm he has the same agenda as Joker says that's the one from the Killing Joke and Heath Ledger's portrayal. Now time to connect this discussion with the movie. This crew decided to take what Joker stands for and turn it into an entire film. Arthur Fleck's life in this movie is garbage. I mean, he lives in a pre-Batman Gotham, there's no way it's not. And throughout the movie, without going too deep into spoilers, it all leads up to this one line.
I used to think that my life was a tragedy. But now I realize it's a comedy.
That one line is so powerful to me. That was the entire point of the previous conversation. To not only inform you guys of what the Joker really stands for, but to hopefully persuade you guys to agree with me that this line is easily the best line in the movie because it perfectly represents the Joker in one sentence. We all know Arthur turns into the Joker, so this isn't really spoilers, but that one line to me is when the transformation really happens. Arthur letting go of what people consider sanity. Arthur taking an outside look at life and realizing how funny it is. Arthur realizing the exact Joker tried to teach Gotham one day. Arthur becoming the Joker. Arthur giving up. See, a common misconception of the Joker is that he's insane. No, he's not insane. He's probably one of the sanest villains in Batman's rogue gallery. It's just that we don't get the joke. This movie perfectly captures the whole meaning of the Joker. Not only that, but it also paints a picture that news journalists and the media didn't want to look at. That's because the picture wasn't a picture. It was actually a mirror. This movie also does a great job at blending another belief of Jokers into our reality. That one bad day is all it takes to create a monster. That under the right circumstances, any of us could become the monsters we hate and dread. And society can also be a key role in doing this. The majority of us want to see the world in black and white. There's good people and then there's bad people. Done. But really, the world is really gray. Under the right circumstances, someone who you trust or picture as a saint could become someone you hate. There's evil and good people, and there's good and bad people. There's no such thing as a good or bad person. At the end of the day, we're just people who try to make the best out of what our minds tell us to do. A perfect example of this is the people aren't into superheroes may look at the Joker and just view him as a one-dimensional psychopathic clown who's purely evil. Heck, the people in this movie viewed the Joker as such. But really, before the one bad day, Joker was one of us, a healthy member of society who had ambitions, fears, and beliefs. I'm not justifying what the Joker does. At the end of the day, Joker is a villain. He does do horrible things that come at the cost of innocent lives. But what Joker tries to teach us is that no one is innocent. That anyone, under the right circumstances, or after one bad day, can be a Joker as well. This movie captures that theme beautifully. The characters see Joker while we see Arthur, a human being like the rest of us. The last theme I'll touch on is one that relates to the first one, and that is letting go. Spoilers for the movie, so if you haven't seen it yet, skip to this timestamp. 3, 2, 1. You have been warned. Throughout the first half of the movie, we see Arthur slowly dance when he's alone. However, after he transforms into Joker, he does a wild dance down the same stairs we constantly saw him walking up miserably. To me, it's almost like when he did slow dances, something in him was trying to get out. Isn't it strange he danced when he got a firearm, and after he murdered those 3 guys in cold blood, and after he kills his adoptive mother, kills Randy, and loses everything he's ever had? He does a wild, untamed dance, basically signifying that he's finally free. Let's take a look at the ending. After killing a therapist, Arthur does yet another dance, but guess where he is? Trapped in Arkham Asylum. And so the dance is slow. Oh god, I love this movie's symbolism. I've noticed that I haven't looked at technical parts of the movie yet, so let's start with the performances. Joe Corn, I did not say that right. Whatever his first name is, Phoenix is phenomenal as Arthur. Phoenix pours everything he has into this role and pays off beautifully. As for everyone else, they all do a great job. I never felt an actor was off. Everyone did a great job playing their individual roles. As for the set design, this movie does a great job at selling a crime-filled city. There's garbage everywhere, graffiti on almost every wall, and even giant rats in the background. This movie does such a great job at painting what Gotham would really look like. Also, this is a side thing, but this movie is insanely brutal and laughs at the word censorship. And I appreciate movies who are bold to tell the story the way they want without attempting to please the dumb media. This movie will have you uncomfortable from start to finish, and I love movies that can take me out of my comfort zone. Cinematography-wise, this movie is impressive. I don't know how to articulate this, but every shot just feels important. There's never a bad shot. All of it is just shot really well. In conclusion, this movie is a masterpiece. This movie perfectly captures the purpose and character of Joker. The performances are great, the set design is cool, the uncensored violence is appreciated, and the movie is generally well shot. But not only that, but this movie is important. This movie is now the highest grossing rated R movie ever made, which is awesome, and that will hopefully convince Hollywood that films focusing on character and wonderful symbolism are worth the attention. Joker was magnificent, and I originally was considering to give this movie a 6 out of 5, but I have to be fair and give it a 5 out of 5. This movie was a perfect experience and will most likely sit with me for the rest of my life. Anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, then please like and subscribe. And as always, I will see you guys
on my face.
Peace, everyone.
I just pick myself up and get back in the race. That's life. That's life. And I can't deny it. Many times I thought holding out, but my heart won't buy it. But if there's nothing shaking come this here July, I'm gonna roll myself up in a big ball and